Every time you open up Blender, you're going to be presented with this screen. I always choose General, and these are your recent files, but if you've moved their location, they won't work. So make sure that you always save to a specific location on your hard drive. When you click General, you're always going to see the cube, a camera, and a light. We can click and drag around both of those and hit Delete, or we can hit X and then choose Delete to get rid of those objects. The first thing is our toolbar over here. These are how we manipulate and transform objects. We also have a menu up here which will populate with different things depending on what you are doing. So let's add an object. We're going to go to this Add Mesh Icosphere, and you can see that it's highlighted in orange. Now if we go up to this menu, you can see we have lots of other options here. The two that you'll use mainly in the beginning is Edit Mode, which shows all the polygons that you can manipulate, or the object itself that you can manipulate. These tools over here are important. They're your Move tool, and you'll see they have little handles. There's a Rotate, which has three options: the red and green axis, or your Y and X axis, and then your Z axis. But then there's also this white circle that you can rotate around, and that, depending on your camera view, is just always facing the camera. Then you have the scale, of course, and you can scale uniformly from the center or not uniformly from some of these sides here. And then this is the Universal Transform Gizmo. I love this one because I have all of those options embedded in one tool. How you navigate the space: if you have a 3-finger mouse, you can click and drag on the center mouse wheel and orbit. You can hold down Shift and do that same thing to pan, and then you can point your mouse at an object and zoom in and out. You can also do that by clicking and dragging here, grabbing your hand tool and clicking and dragging that, or clicking and dragging your zoom. But I like the mouse wheel. Also, you may need to come up to your Edit Preferences. We'll use this menu a lot in other things, but to begin with, we want navigation to look exactly like mine. Orbit, selection around, perspective, depth, and zoom are really important because those allow you to go in and out and point directly at objects that are in view. Okay, the other things that you'll need to pay attention to are over here. This is the outliner, and right now we only have one object in our scene, and a mesh is always designated with an upside down triangle. Inside of that, it shows that it has vertices, and we're not going to get too far into that right now, but you will have other objects in here that you can turn on and off so you can see through them. Sometimes you'll want to see through an object partially, and you can go up to these menu items up here. The X-ray mode allows you to see through your object, and that's helpful especially when you're in wireframe mode. So you can see all the different sides, and maybe you'll want to select things and have both sides selected. So this is where wireframe mode comes in handy. When I turn off X-ray, you can now only see one side of the object. The other one is this one here. This is solid fill. The other two you won't use much in the beginning, but that's a material, and we don't have a material on here. And this one is a material with a light, so we don't have a material in the light, and it just shows up black. Sometimes you'll accidentally click Z, and you'll be moving around, and you might go to wireframe, or you might go to material preview. When you type Z, it opens up those menus I was just showing. I never for the longest time ever used those. I always like to go up here, and if things don't look right 95% of the time, it's because of this, or the X-ray is toggled. You can undo with Control Z, but sometimes you'll hit Shift Z by accident, and that will also bring you into X-ray mode. So just knowing those things helps you to figure out what's going on when you accidentally hit the wrong buttons. One other thing is this little tiny arrow over here is the location, rotation, and scale, as well as the dimensions of the object that's selected. That's the very basics of the user interface. We'll get more into all of the stuff that happens down here later on in the program.